today, Jem, we wanted to talk a little bit about your ego. I'm guessing this is something that comes up again and again.
Yeah, I literally just had a call with a new lady, and that's exactly why she hasn't reached out, because she's tried to do it on her own.
Yeah.
And it hasn't worked.
Like, if I got on those scales and it wasn't a case that people were going to be like, she is the best weight loss person in the universe.
Yeah. Unless you win Slimmer of the Week, you're out.
I'd be gone.
Hey girls, and welcome back to another episode of the Let's Chat Girls podcast on Spotify and YouTube with your hosts, Gemma and Rach. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video.
Jem, we're back for another week. We have become the queens of consistency, quite frankly.
We have. We're doing really well with that. We are.
We are. And I hope everyone really enjoyed the 2 episodes last week. I mean, it kind of even caught us off guard. I think we forgot that there was a second episode going out. But so far, the feedback has been good about the shorter episodes, having that extra one on a Sunday. So we're going to keep rolling with it. And we're going to keep the same formats. Midweek is always going to be us kind of like deep diving in a topic, or when we do kind of an interview with a guest. And then the Sundays are going to be our diet dilemmas to get you set up for the week. Yeah. And today, Jem, we wanted to talk a little bit about your ego and why your ego could be holding you back when it comes to your weight loss, and why it's so important that we try and break that down when it comes to having success with your weight loss, especially when it's losing weight with us, right? Because I think naturally, I'm sure you hear this all the time, people won't want to reach out to us because maybe they feel like they don't need to, or they feel like they should know better, they shouldn't need help. Like, I don't think that's a new thing. Like, you've obviously been a consultant for 11 years. I'm guessing this is something that comes up again and again.
Yeah, I literally just had a call with a new lady, and that's exactly why she hasn't reached out, because she's tried to do it on her own. Yeah. And it hasn't worked.
It's so common. And I think a lot of the time we feel like this because we've been conditioned to think it should be as simple as calories in, calories out. Weight loss is made to be like such a really simple formula. And
that's what you see online though, isn't it? You don't need any of that. You don't need support. You don't need help. You just need to do it like this. And it's like, yeah, if it was that easy, we'd all be doing it.
Exactly. And, you know, even if you look at the support that is out there in the mainstream, you know, there may be like group settings and things like that. But arguably, how much support are you getting in a room full of like 20, 30 other people? Like, I know I've been in many of those kind of situations throughout my life. Like, I've always said I went to my first slimming group when I was like 12. And I think that everyone is going to find something different that works for them. But for me, it just kind of felt like I just felt nervous the whole time waiting for them to come to me and be like, this is how you've done this week. And it'd be like,
It's like being at school, isn't it? When you have to introduce yourself, or like a networking class, like that's scary in a vulnerable place. You know, when you're wanting to lose weight, I remember feeling really scared, really nervous, and I never stayed for group.
No.
I got weighed and ran out because I was like, I can't stand it. I felt, really pressured. And I didn't want to have to explain like myself. And most of the time I didn't really lose weight, even though I'd been 100% anyway. So then what do you say to that? I don't know.
That's
I don't know the answer.
Like, you're almost sat there sometimes trying to figure it out yourself. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, what have I done wrong? All of the other. And I think if that's been your experience of getting support in weight loss, or the other side, which is like none, or maybe you've had like negative experiences when you've reached out to like medical professionals or people like that for support, we can be very daunted. Because you can have all of these like negative experiences and think that, you know, almost you've put this protective film up. Like, I'm not going to reach out because I know what happens if I have a bad week. Like, I know how I felt before. I know how I've been questioned. And especially in those settings like groups, when you're being like, you know, interrogated sometimes, it's felt like, for me personally, in like with loads of people looking at you that you don't particularly know very well. And all you want to do is for the world to like swallow you up.
Like, literally.
I don't want to be
I remember that.
And like you,
no, I hated it.
I would run away a lot of the time, I'm not going to lie. Like, if I got on those scales and it wasn't a case that people were going to be like, she is the best like weight loss person in the universe.
Unless you win Slimmer of the Week, you're out.
I'd be gone. I'd be like, I'm not up for this. I'm not up for this like interrogation.
No. I used to lie as well. So I'm really busy. I can't stay. I'm so sorry. Like, oh, you should try. I was like, no, I've got a baby. I've got to go.
I didn't have a baby or anything at the time that I could use. I was just like, yeah, no, sorry, I've got to go. Like, I remember when lockdown first happened and I was going to these groups, and so it like lockdown, you remember when it like kind of released a little bit, like we could kind of do some things. You could sit in a square, right, as long as you were like an arm's way from someone else. So they reopened these groups by us. Then they were like,
oh, did they?
Yeah, they were like, you can come. There's going to be little squares on the floor with your chair in the middle. So literally like an interrogation. But we're all going to be in a semicircle at arm's reach so that we can do the classes again. And I know there was a collective, oh my God, seriously, do we really do that? So I remember this like joy whenever our local authority were like, we're going back into a local lockdown. I was like, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do?
That world seems so long ago, doesn't it? When you think about that.
It's so funny because I think it, in a way, really highlighted how many people found those situations really difficult, but we're also really seeking support and understanding and all the rest of it when it comes to weight loss. And so when I remember reaching out to you, I mean, I don't think I had you still for that first call. I think my hand was literally like trembling, holding my phone.
Yeah, I remember how nervous you were.
The whole time, because I was just waiting, and I knew you were lovely. But there was still that part of me that felt like I need to protect myself because there might be like some judgment, or you're gonna, you know, be like, okay, so why are you overweight, Rach? Why can you not just not eat the XYZ? And it's never as simple as that, because we all know that our weight issues have got so many reasons behind them. It's never a case of just, I just quite like eating big portions. Very rarely is that the reason.
Very, very rare. So normally people get quite emotional in that first call, don't they? And it's breaking down that barrier, and then the emotions come out, because they're kind of like, I recognise a lot of my clients put on a bit of a front. They're like, oh yeah, I'm really happy. I'm like, right, okay, let's talk about why you're here. You know, what's the reason? Why do you need my help? And it suddenly disappears, like that mask goes, doesn't it, when you have to talk about yourself? And I remember that with you. I was like, and
it is that, I think that's the first step of breaking that kind of
I think so.
ego down. And when we say ego, right, it gets a really negative rap, because we associate the term ego with things that are very negative. You know, people say people are egotistical, or they've got a big ego. And so we associate all this negativity with it. All your ego is the part of you that you want to present to the world, right? And yes, there can be like negative things that attach with that, but when we're talking about it, all I'm talking about is the version of you you're presenting. And why your ego can get in the way is because you don't want to present the bits that we don't like, or that we think don't make us look good, or the rest of it. So it seems like you said, Jem, people can come up to us and just have this front on. Whilst that front is there, we're not able to help. We're not able to break anything down. And I think the people that can have that vulnerability and that humility to just be like, this is the reality of it, this is where I'm at, are the ones that we can make the most progress with. Because if we can get to the real you, and you can show us the real version of you, the real issues you're having, then we can give you real strategies and real things that are going to help build up the areas of you that you're struggling with. Because I've had so many times in the past where, you know, like I said, this was my first rodeo doing the one-to-one diet. And if I look at what was the main thing, and I get this from clients every day, what was the main thing that happened before that meant it didn't work? I didn't want to engage with anyone. I wanted to buy my products. I wanted to hurry off to my house,
do it
on my own.
I'm fine.
And if you ever asked me how I was doing, I wanted to go, wow. I know I haven't had good weight loss this week, and I know that I've, you know, secretly binged many times.
But I'm really happy with that.
But I'm really fine with it. And absolutely, it's not a problem. I've got no problem with it whatsoever.
That is so common.
How often do you hear that?
That comment you just said every week.
All the time. And it's like, no, be real with me. If you're annoyed, tell me you're annoyed. If you're frustrated, tell me you're frustrated. If you're disappointed, tell me you're disappointed. Like, you have to tell me what is going on in that mind. And not even just for me, but a lot of the time we actually use our ego to protect ourselves. We don't want to admit it.
100%. Yeah.
And so we end up like in this really vicious circle where we're lying to ourselves, we're lying to the person that's trying to support us, and you're never going to move forward with that. You might lose weight. You might be able to stick to plan for a certain period of time and lose a certain amount of weight. But if that worked, then the one-to-one diet wouldn't exist, because you wouldn't need that one-to-one support.
That's what makes it different, though, isn't it? We talk about this all the time. It is the support, that one-to-one support, having someone there all the time. Actually, one of my ladies, returner, came back today, and she said, I know this sounds really silly, but how do I reach out to you? Like, how do I do that? That is so uncomfortable to me. Like, I'm stubborn. I always think that I can do it on my own. And we had that conversation, we know it hasn't worked in the past because that's why you're here again, because you didn't want to reach out. You wanted to go it alone. She said, it's because I'm stubborn. I know it's because I'm stubborn. And again, that's her ego, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's her. She says she's stubborn. So that's what she is. And that's what she's going to keep doing. I spoke to her about how important it is to reach out before you have that. It feels so uncomfortable, doesn't it? To reach out to someone before you're about to have time off plan. Like, when you get that absolute urge to have a meal or whatever it is, you don't want to text them before. Like, why would you? Because you want to do it, or sometimes actually in a state of mind that actually you don't even think to message. It just happens, and then you message afterwards, and that's obviously what she's done. Last week she did that, and this week she's going to really work on messaging me. She's like, I don't want to annoy you. I don't want to, I don't want to message you in the evening. I was like, that is what my job is. Like, that is what I'm here for.
Yeah.
That's exactly when you need to message. When it doesn't feel comfortable and you feel like it's not natural to you, do it. Because that's going to change it going forward. And she's like, okay, I'm going to do it.
That's it. Change doesn't feel comfortable, right?
Never.
You're going to feel uncomfortable. But, and you're going to, if you're in that mindset, you will listen to this podcast and you will say, oh, Jem and Rach are saying that. But the thing is, I know Rach is at home and Poppy's at home and she's busy. And I know Jem's got the kids and, she's got stuff going on. So they're saying they don't mind, but they do really. I'm going to make their life more difficult by reaching out and contacting them. You'll make these things up in your head instead of just, and again, let the ego go and just listen to what people are saying, because genuinely, and I think I would speak for every consultant when I say this, my life's easier when you're reaching out to me.
100%.
My life is so much easier when my clients are messaging me and letting me know how they're getting on, the wins they're having, when, let me know when things are good, let me know if things are wobbly. My job is fundamentally easier, because if not, then basically what we have to do is guess, because we have to try and read between the bravado that people are putting on. And that's so much harder and it is so hard. Takes longer to get, like, we do it, like, that is a big part of our job. But don't lie to yourself and say that it's easier for them if I don't message them, because actually it's harder for me, because I've not only got to try and get to the root of what the problem is, I've got to try and engage you. And like you said, Jem, like, if people say like, oh, I'm just stubborn, or, having that awareness about yourself is fantastic. Yeah. But having self-awareness and doing nothing about it is just going to land you back where you are.
Exactly. She took the first step, just even acknowledging it
so much, and saying to you,
I know I should have messaged you before.
And I feel like,
asking how to do it. How do I message you? Do you know what I mean? How do I do that? It is so hard, isn't it, for a lot of people?
And that's why I sometimes say to my clients, one of the first steps is, if they really struggle to reach out to me, is to get consistent with messaging me to let me know their day's going well. So much easier to reach out to me when times are tough if we've got open communication anyway. If you never message me, and then, maybe we have our calls, you're like, look, I speak to you on the phone each week, I do my check-in each week, but we have nothing in between, then when you are struggling, it is going to feel really unusual to message and be that vulnerable. You might be like, oh, I'll wait till my check-in, I'll wait till my call, or whatever. Whereas if you just get in the habit of messaging every day, just saying,
with accountability,
day's going well. Some of my clients, I'm like, if that even feels too much, just send me an emoji. Don't even write a word. Just send me a little emoji, a GIF, whatever it is, to get in the habit of having that open line of communication.
Is reaching out, isn't it?
Yeah,
definitely.
So much.
But they don't want their only message to you be that they're struggling. So I get that.
So don't
they
make
want
it
their
that
only message that week. So don't. So message every day.
Like, if we don't want it to be that the only time you speak to me is when you're struggling, I don't want it to be that either. I always say, think how sad our job would be, right? If the only time you spoke to people was when things were going really bad. Like, I'd be like, it's just so sad. So, like, send us. I mean, I know with you, Jem, I'd literally message you multiple times a day. And especially in the beginning, like every product, I'd just be like...
I feel like we just had that, didn't we? Right from the word go, you were just on it. Like, this is what I'm having. But I have a lot of clients like that, and it does help them. But there's 100%. A lot of quiet ones.
But I would say that majority of my clients that get to goal and make real long-term change when it comes to their relationship with food, their weight, are the ones that constantly speak to me. That are
me too.
messaging me, are, and not just me. I think it goes as well. We were talking previously about the incredible community online, right?
Yeah.
And also our own individual kind of community groups that we have for our clients. Even like getting involved in them, even if it's not directly, if one-to-one reaching out feels really like, I don't like that, I feel like the spotlight's on me, it makes you feel really uncomfortable, then don't start by doing that. Maybe start by just engaging in the group chat. You don't need to share your life story, but if someone else puts something in, maybe just come back and put something else back in there. Like have a conversation. It's not scary, guys. We have conversations every day. You can have a conversation with people, and you're in a place where everyone in there is struggling with their weight.
Yeah, they're in the same boat.
They're in exactly the same boat. You're not going to have people being judgy because everyone's thinking the same thing.
And people like to see, we've said this before, it sounds awful, but people like to hear that you're struggling because then they don't feel alone.
Yeah.
Because they're struggling.
Well, people have loved hearing that my life's gone down the drain the last couple of weeks. That's been...
You know what? People used to like, well, people are annoyed that I'm not doing a January challenge. Like, setback. No, not setback. What's the word?
Reset. Yeah, setback.
Yeah, the fact that I'm not doing a January setback.
I'm not doing a January setback just to get me back a little bit. Get me off my pedestal a little bit.
I'm sorry. I'll do blogs. I'll do blogs instead. But I think, again, I'm worried what people will think because I think that's boring. So my ego gets in the way. Oh no, just don't post because, I can't do what I normally do. Just do it anyway.
Exactly. And I think
feel the fear and do it anyway.
Just be it like letting yourself, I think the more authentic you can be, I think then you naturally become more confident. You have more self-belief because you're just constantly not trying to put this bravado on. You're just constantly not trying to put a mask on all the time.
Because that's exhausting.
It really is. And yes, it's really scary to be vulnerable, like be honest or, whatever. But it's only scary the first couple of times. Trust me, it was scary for me when I first started. Like even in last year, right? It would have been scary for me to say, I've said I'm going to do a reset in January. And in the first week, be like, guess how well that's gone. It's gone about as well as a family-size KFC bucket. It's gone that well. But now I've broken that down and I'm like, I don't it is what it is. And actually,
but the good thing is that's so relatable as well, because there'll be other people that haven't had a perfect January or haven't had a perfect New Year. And that's all you ever see online, isn't it?
Yeah. And then it fuels that ego, doesn't it? That's what fuels it. We see these things. We see the perfect, perfect families, perfect weight loss. We get it as parents as well. Like, whenever all you see on social media is perfect. And normally it's because we're not putting the stuff on there that isn't perfect because we want to present ourselves in a certain way. And it's the same with weight loss. Whereas now I'm like, you know what? What I will say though, guys, yesterday I had my first full day on plan. So things are going good again. There we go. Back to the motivational, inspirational queen of...
well done.
No, I am proud. I'm proud of that. But I genuinely don't think I would have got to that place if I hadn't just been honest and said that things weren't. If I tried to put a front on and act like things were just going swimmingly, then that would have been so mentally tiring that I just wouldn't have had the energy to do it. But also, people can see through that.
People, you can tell when people aren't being authentically them online, can't you? And doing what they think they should be doing. Which is awful because that's what a lot of social media is.
Yeah, it is. It is really sad sometimes when you look at it and just see that people cookie cutter. And it's so funny this week actually. There's a person I watch on YouTube. They're like a newsy channel, but anyway, they have left and a different host has come on to do it, and it is shocking how similar they are. And
really,
they were like basically the other person that's come on to host it has had what in effect is like acting lessons because they know this formula works really well. The way this host did it,
trained to be like the person that's there.
But then you're like, well, then it's not them. Like people are going to people are going to become engaged with this person and think like, I enjoy watching this person, but you're not even watching them. You're literally watching a caricature.
And it was acting, isn't it? That is you're trained to act.
I'm not.
The script on that.
I'm rubbish.
On that show. I mean, I need to be trained.
I could do a binge. I got told that I should maybe sit out drama. I've never understood acting.
See, I don't believe that. I think you come across so well, but then it's not acting. You come across natural. I think that's why you're so good at it, because it is you. But people say it to me, how do you do it? You're so natural online. I'm like, I don't know what else to do.
I don't.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know how to act any different.
But then it's funny because I get it from a place, just because I struggle with the idea of acting doesn't mean like I wouldn't have had an ego. Definitely would have, because I would have thought, like, especially in the beginning, go back and watch my first videos. Like, you can see I'm trying to be like, you know, I'm nervous, so I'm trying to.
Your voice was different. You had a very airy voice.
Hi.
Rachel. I think I went to go watch him the other day. I was on YouTube. I was like, oh look, it's all Rachel's videos. So I started watching. I was like, she doesn't even sound the same. But you were nervous, so you were trying to like, right, I need to be confident. I need to, you know, do these videos online. And you can't help but do it.
If you want to see how well I act, go back and watch some of those.
But you can tell you're not acting though, because you can see this. You can still see that it's real. You're just
trying to put on your best
confident.
You're trying to put on your best front. Whereas, like, I think now what is so lovely is that, you know, we've got to a place where it's like, just put.
But even our first podcast, I bet, are completely different. Yeah. Because I was like, oh my God, a podcast. How do we do that?
Sounded very professional.
I don't know how to talk.
Sounded very like we're out of our depth here. We have no clue what we're doing.
What the hell? We've told people we're doing a podcast. I don't even know how to do it. I mean, I still don't know how to do it.
No, I know.
We've had some issues.
We're having some technical issues. I mean, I know that's shocking for us as a podcast, but basically, if you've wondered why Gemma's sound has sounded funny for the last God knows how long,
the microphone doesn't even work.
She's had a microphone that's not even working.
I was like, I'm just going to put it on and pretend.
I said, don't even bother. Don't let your ego get to you like that. Like, just bin it.
God.
But we're gonna.
So it's just literally tinny through my phone. No wonder it sounded terrible.
But you know what?
We'll sort it.
We will sort it. I've literally got here a microphone for her. It's my new one that I'm recording on.
Going to get a new laptop.
She's going to get a new laptop, and then things are just going to be absolutely glorious going forward.
They are. I can't wait for that.
I know. I can't wait for the day that I edit this audio and it just sounds like we're in a studio.
Well, you won't even have to edit it. It's just going to be like silk.
It gave me goosebumps just even thinking about it. That's the aim. So as we're saying, the ego can be your biggest demise when it comes to your weight loss journey, right? So just if you can relate to anything, you don't want to reach out to people, you feel like you're really closed off because maybe of past experiences. As I would say to my clients day in, day out, be curious, not furious about what that brings up in you, and reach out to your consultant, your coach, whoever, and talk about it. Talk about that. And, you know, only by talking do you start breaking those things down. And just know that if it does feel uncomfortable, then that's probably the right thing to do.
That's a good thing.
If it feels uncomfortable talking, keep talking, because it shows that like progress is happening. Well, thanks so much, as always, for joining us. We will have another episode for you on Sunday. The sound issues will still be there because we record 2 episodes a day now. So they will
still using my dud mic.
They will still be there. However, hopefully going forward, they will be fixed. But as always, thank you so much for joining us. Please do make sure to subscribe, like the video, leave us a comment. Is this something you relate to? Have you maybe found that that's something you've had to work on? I'd be so interested to hear all of your experiences with it. And do share the video as well. Share the podcast with someone that you think this may benefit. But
maybe that can be the challenge, Rach. If you find it hard to comment or find it hard to actually, because if they're scared of reaching out, they're probably not going to want to comment. I feel like they need to. That's their challenge this week.
Yeah, you need to comment, right? We for no other reason. We need the engagement, guys. Come on, it's free. Give us 2 seconds of your life.
Just comment. Push yourself out your comfort zone.
Maybe we should do at the end of each episode now. We'll do a secret little comment. So if you've got to this point in the episode, comment what little emoji and the starry eye emoji.
Yeah.
And that we'll know then that you've listened all the way to here. That would be really nice.
That's a good idea.
Thanks.
Yeah. Then you haven't got to say anything.
You haven't got to say anything.
Scared to speak. Put a star-eyed.
I want a star-eyed emoji. And we'll maybe do one at the end.
I'm going to put one on there. As soon as it goes live, I'm going to put it on there.
And then everyone who hasn't listened all the way through because they've jumped off, not loyal at all, that is not loyal behaviour, they'll be like, what's all this about? Anyway.
And then they'll get FOMO.
They'll get FOMO then. They know what's going on. We are going to get off. We're going to go. But until next time, as always, it is goodbye from me.
And bye from me.
And we will see you all again really soon.